Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. Before we get into the subject of today's video, I have two important things to announce to you. It's the existence of two social media sites that I created that you should all be using because freedom of speech is important. The first one is Quarter, which is my own open source alt tech alternative to YouTube that I founded a little over a year ago. It's actually going on 16 months ago, roughly, that I founded Quarter. My, does time fly. In addition to championing freedom of speech in practice and not just word, Quarter is also a feature-rich alternative to YouTube. You have full-on HD uploads, including 4K resolution. You have live streaming. You have free restreaming. You have public playlists, easy-to-use comment moderation system. You also have dislikes in addition to likes, which is something YouTube recently took away. And you also have features that you don't have on YouTube, such as Quarter Bucks and Insight currency that you can use to promote your individual videos or your entire channel on the front page of the site. And you earn Quarter Bucks by getting views on your uploads. Hence, you better upload your videos to Quarter and share them if you want Quarter Bucks. There's also video chat rooms that you can create, which is similar to Google Hangouts. You can do video calls with anybody, friends, family, coworkers, fans, followers, etc. And you can live stream to your channel from these rooms. You can also write articles on Quarter, which are similar to the community posts you can do on YouTube, but way more robust, and there's a lot more you can do with them. So hopefully, if you are looking for a YouTube alternative that champions freedom of speech, you will join Quarter today. But in addition to Quarter, I also have another social media site that I've been running since December 26, 2021, and that is Creation Social. Creation Social is an open source alt tech alternative to Facebook and Gab, and if the way X is going, X as well. You can do a lot of different things here. You can make posts, you can share pictures, you can change the background color of your posts, you can create groups, you can also play games, create blog posts, you can buy and sell things in the marketplace, you can also do group chats, and when I update the website here in the near future, you'll be able to do a lot more than just that. So if you're looking for a social media site that is an alternative to Twitter and Facebook and Gab, and you want one that champions freedom of speech legitimately, Creation Social is the one you should join. The links to Quarter and Creation Social will be in the description box down below. But now that you are aware of the existence of Quarter and Creation Social, let's talk about the subject of today's video, which is none other than H. Pearl Davis. H. Pearl Davis is a chick who has 1.7 million subscribers on her YouTube channel, and she also has over 325,000 followers on X. And she has been trending a lot on X over the past several months with the controversial things that she says. And that's an understatement. The reason why we're making this video is to respond to this post by H. Pearl Davis, where she said, "The best women are married before 25. Everyone else is leftover." And I assume that she meant else instead of the double is, so I'm improving what she said. Don't shoot the messenger. So according to H. Pearl Davis, or TTOR as she calls herself, the best women are married before 25. And if you're not married before you're 25, then as a woman, you are not the best woman. As a matter of fact, you're just leftovers. Meaning you're not just a good woman instead of a great woman. You're actually a subpar woman. You're not even a good woman. You're just leftovers. You're just target practice for men. That's what she's really saying by implication when she says that any woman who's not married before 25 is leftovers. Of course, someone named Michelle responded to her post by saying, "Are there any not-so-great women who marry before 25? Pearl Davis said in response, "Yes, there are good women over 25 to marry. The point is that the best women are under 25. This should not be controversial and was common sense 50 years ago. It's not kind to pander to women." But apparently pandering to MGTOW guys is A-okay, according to H. Pearl Davis. Because these kind of talking points she's saying come from the MGTOW guys. She's just mirroring what they say because she's pandering to them. So notice how in the first sentence Pearl says, yes, there are good women over 25 to marry. Well, wait a minute, Pearl. You specifically said that the best women were married before 25 and that everyone else in the women category is leftovers if they're not married by then. That doesn't sound like you're saying that they're good women. I think you're contradicting yourself because you're getting called out for what you said. But if we just take Pearl Davis at her word in this post and we ignore the one that caused the controversy, she's saying that, well, yeah, you can be a good woman over 25 and get married, but the best women get married before they're 25. So even in this post, if you're a woman over the age of 25 and you get married, you're not as good as a woman who gets married before she's 25. Very interesting how women over 25 are subpar, even if they're good, because they're never going to be as good as a woman who gets married before 25. Really interesting. But H. Pearl Davis is no stranger to saying things like this. As a matter of fact, we have this Timcast article that you see on screen titled, H. Pearl Davis says 16-year-olds are more attractive than 26-year-old women. Yes, she really did say that. Let's read the article, though. H. Pearl Davis, who goes by the social media handle TTOR says 16-year-old minor girls were more attractive than 26-year-old women in post to X, formerly known as Twitter. 16-year-old chicks are hotter than 26-year-old chicks, wrote Davis in her Wednesday post. Davis later deleted the post after heavy criticism from users. Is this real? Wrote Josie Glabick, who goes by the Redheaded Libertarian, and you see a screenshot of H. Pearl Davis's post where she literally said 16-year-old chicks are hotter than 26-year-old chicks. Pearl, that sounds very pedophilic if you ask me. Adults shouldn't be talking about how hot kids are, Glabick continued in another post. My God, Pearl, stop this for F's sake. What a weird thing to say, wrote one user. No, they are not. If a 26-year-old man is finding 16-year-olds hot, then there is an issue with him. Why does Pearl want adults to agree with her that 16-year-olds are hot, wrote another user. Other users suggested Davis's post was designed to drive up engagement on X. The things people will say for engagement, wrote one user. This is a bit much. 16-year-olds are still developing, the user continued. They are children. Leave them out of this. This is what it's like to do anything for attention, wrote another user. PSA, love your kids so much that they don't grow up to need this kind of validation. Pearl deleting this tweet proves it's weird and proves that all you weirdos defending 16-year-old chicks are hot comments are also weird, wrote another user commenting on others agreeing with Davis's sentiment. Davis commented on the criticism, saying, ratio is all ego. Who cares? I can either say what is true and people will like or not. So wait, you're not apologizing for saying that 16-year-olds are more attractive than 26-year-olds? You're saying that it's true and it doesn't matter if people like it or not? That's the implication here. That's not an apology at all. Wow. In another post, Davis attempted to clarify her original statement by saying, people tend to get uglier the older they get in general. Most Americans are overweight by 26, she wrote. Don't shoot the messenger. Oh, so this is the justification. So apparently, you are at your hottest as a woman when you are 16 years old, and it's just all downhill from there. Of course, it doesn't take much observation in reality to conclude that that is an utter load of crap. There are plenty of women who are in their mid-20s right now that look way more beautiful than they did when they were 16. This idea that, well, if you're more attractive at 26 than you are at 36, then you must be more attractive at 16 than 26. That just doesn't fly at all, and it flies in the face of observable reality. The now deleted post appeared to be an extension of a June post from Davis in which she suggested 35-year-old women were less attractive than women in their 20s. This used to be common sense 50 years ago, Davis wrote, and you can see the tweet on screen, or the X post on screen. Davis has gained notoriety online for sharing what users deem to be controversial statements regarding relationships between men and women, along with criticism of feminism. Some users have compared Davis to former professional kickboxer turned social media influencer Andrew Tate, who similarly gained notoriety for his controversial statements about masculinity and women. Well, the reason why she's gained notoriety is not just because she made controversial statements. She's making statements that are logically fallacious and fly in the face of observable reality. That's why she's gaining notoriety on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. She's saying things that are disgusting and borderline promote pedophilia, and they are logically fallacious. But then again, she could be saying these things as rage bait to get people to engage with her content out of pure spite. Because it may be that she just cares about engagement and she doesn't care what she has to say in order to get that engagement. That is entirely possible. Now, many, including myself, think that H. Pearl Davis is someone who is just pandering to the MGTOW people and saying what they want to hear in order to get their attention and to get their engagement on social media. And in relation to her original post about the best women are married before 25, H. Pearl Davis said in this post, saying that 25-year-old and under women are the best women for wives is not grifting. Neither is saying men should marry virgin wives. It's actually saying water is wet, the sky is blue. The real grifters are the ones pandering to you, freaking out, and insulting me. Translation: I'm not a grifter. The people criticizing me, they're the grifters. Really, Pearl? Really? You really think that's going to fly today in the internet age? You're a grifter. Anyone who's observed the MGTOW movement for any amount of time and then looks at your posts will instantly recognize that you are pandering to the MGTOW guys by saying exactly what they want to hear to get their engagement, and then you're saying these wild, outlandish, logically fallacious, and downright pedophilic things on X in order to get people to rage click and rage engage with your posts. That's exactly what you're doing. You are the grifter who panders to people and intentionally says things to get engagement. And that's the best case scenario for you. The worst case scenario is that you really do think 16-year-olds are more attractive than 26-year-olds, and you are at least enabling pedophiles if you're not outright subtly hinting that you are one. Because, hey, if 16-year-old girls are more attractive than 26-year-old girls, then obviously 16-year-old guys are more attractive than 26-year-old guys, right? Or are guys under 30 trash and only guys who are 30 and above with resources are the only ones worth marrying? Is that what's going on, Pearl? Why don't you tell us how you feel about men and which men are the best men for marriage? And by what age should a man be married in order to be considered the best kind of man? Now, before we leave this video, I want to take a little bit here to talk about the obvious. Now, if you're someone like me who observes reality and has a rational brain, and you just compare what you observe to what H. Pearl Davis says about the relationships between men and women and about how women are and how men are, you realize really quickly that what she's saying is logically fallacious and silly, and you move on with your day. But if you're a young, impressionable person and you believe the kind of things that the MGTOW guys say, that the fourth wave feminists say, and that H. Pearl Davis says, you are going to be beyond demoralized. I remember when I was in high school and in my college years in my early 20s, and even going throughout my 20s, I just remember feeling alone and depressed, especially when I was single in college. And I just felt like I was unworthy of being in a relationship with a woman. Of course, until I got my first girlfriend, I felt that way. And there have been many times in my single life where I've reflected on myself and felt like I was not worthy of getting married to a woman. But if I had been exposed to these people back in my impressionable years in high school and college, I don't know that I would be here today as the man that I am. I mean, if I had been told, oh, yeah, by the way, as a man, you're not worth anything until you're at least 30 years old and have resources to your name. Oh, that would make me feel absolutely awful. I mean, I was exposed to some Christian preachers who taught similar concepts. Like, I saw a Paul Washer video in my mid 20s where he basically said, yeah, if you're not financially secure and you don't have your own place and your own car and your own this or your own that, then you're not worthy of dating a good Christian woman, or at least not his daughter. It's like, wow, really interesting. So, if you look at the globalists and what the world says, they say that men under 30 are trash, and it's only men who are 30 and above with resources who are worth marrying or who are worth anything at all. On the flip side, they say that women who are virgins and under the age of 25 are the only ones worth marrying, and the only ones who are worth anything for that matter. And if you're a woman and you're over 25 and you're not married, or you're not a virgin, or both, then you're trash. You're expendable. You're worth nothing more than just a hot fling every now and then. You're just target practice for guys. That's all you're worth if you are not married by 25 and you're not a virgin prior to getting married. That's seriously the world that they're setting up here. The relationships between men and women are more strained than they've ever been at any point in U.S. history, and that is by design because the globalists want to decrease the population of the world down to 500 million people by any means necessary. And one of those means is to get men and women to hate each other so much that they don't want to have babies with each other and marry each other and form families. That's one of the many ways that the globalists are going about getting the population of the world to go down to the extremely low level that they want it to. And if you think that there is no satanic influence behind this, think again. The thing about the devil is that he loves to isolate people. If you can isolate people away from others and trap them with their own thoughts and the influence of demons and evil spirits, you can have a much easier time controlling them, and you can get them to think that they're scum, that they're worthless, and that they're not worth anything at all if they don't fit this narrow little criteria, such as being an under 25 virgin for a woman and a man being 30 plus with resources being the only way he's acceptable at all. If Satan and his demons can convince you of those things, they can keep you isolated from others. They can control you pretty good and make you miserable the rest of your life. If you are a woman watching this video and you see H. Pearl Davis saying that if you are not married by the time you're 25, then you're just leftovers, do not believe her. If you are watching this and you see her say that and you're a woman who is over 25, you're not married, and maybe you're not even a virgin on top of that, do not believe her that you are just leftovers. God doesn't view you that way. God loves you as his creation. His love for you is greater than any human love can ever be, and he desires the best for you. And as long as you are submitted to the Lord via a personal relationship with Jesus and you are pursuing him with everything you have, you most likely, if it's God's will, are going to eventually be given by God a spouse who both honors and fears the Lord and also pursues him along with you. God can give you that spouse when you're in your late teens or your early mid-20s, no doubt, but he can also give you that spouse in your late 20s, in your early 30s, in your mid-30s, even your late 30s, and beyond. God can give you your spouse whenever the time is right, which is whenever he deems it to be right. Because God's timing is perfect. God's will is perfect. God does not give you bad things. God may allow bad things to happen to you from time to time, but God himself does not give you bad things if you are genuinely and honestly pursuing him. And if you're a man watching this and you think that, well, if I'm not 30 plus years old with resources, then I'm worthless, don't believe that either. You are not worthless just because you're in your 20s and you don't have the kind of resources that a woman would prefer. Don't think that at all. You matter to God. He cares about you just as much as he cares about women. Because you're all his creation. He created all of you. He has plans for all of you. And if you pursue him with everything you have and you submit to him via a personal relationship with Jesus, not only are you saved, guys, but God will, in his perfect timing, and if it's his will, give you a spouse who honors and loves the Lord as well. A spouse who will be a good fit for you. Because God, if his will is allowed to be done, he doesn't give us things that aren't compatible with us, such as a spouse that's incompatible with us. I believe personally that God gives us spouses that are compatible with us. That's what I really believe. And with that, I will see you in the next video. It's been kind of a long one, and boy, I have some editing to do after the fact, but yeah, what can you do? Hopefully you found this to be uplifting as well as informative. See you next time.